I'm live. Hey, folks, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. I say it every time. Hit that notification bell down below. I'm going to wait for a few people to come in. I see there's zero right now. So I am back from ASD. So we'll wait a couple of minutes, make sure people get in here. Sorry for the lack of videos from ASD. Very hard to go live in that town. Service was not always great, but so we have 5 live viewers. So thanks. What do we got? Dean, the CNC Toolman, Jeffrey D, the Bargain Effect, all here. Hey guys, I am home. Yay! Thrifty 50/50 vet, ASD. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of my thoughts. If you guys have any questions, I've got about maybe half an hour to speak before my wife gets home, and I haven't seen her in a week. So I'm going to, as soon as she gets here, I'm going to make sure to spend some time with her. Scott, now, if you haven't had a week to hang out with Scott, don't. It sucks. Now, Scott and I, Bearded Picker, we had a great time. I hope he had a great time. I know I did. We ended up going to California. That was a hell of a day. The plane ride was good. I actually was not scared at all after, as soon as it took off, and the first time, and it was just great. It was actually a very peaceful and calming thing. The plane ride home was just as good. We flew over the Grand Canyon, so I got to see that. Flew over the Hoover Dam. I got to see that. Hit a little bit of turbulence above Lincoln, Nebraska, but it wasn't even that bad. It was great. And then we came in and we flew over Lake Erie and right over Put-in Bay and all those little islands there, which was really phenomenal. I got some pictures of that stuff. But anyway, ASD, what did I learn? Well, I think I learned more about myself. What happens in Vegas gets broadcast on YouTube, apparently. I don't drink. I don't gamble. Scott will back me up on that. I didn't do any of that stuff. I have to admit I did break even in Vegas. I got exactly the amount out that I put in, which was $0. So broke even. Anyway, so we went there. I flew in Sunday night. Scott picked me up at the airport. And then we just went back to the hotel and talked a little bit, and then we went to bed. Monday morning, bright and early, we went to ASD. I think we met up with John and Lori, John Chartier and his wife, Lori. Lori is a great, great person. If you're nervous, because she really she held my hand through the whole process. And if I'm stepping on somebody's toes for going live, somebody let me know. All right, I don't want to do that. But anyway, so the first day was more me just walking around with John and Lori, John Chartier and Lori. John had a deal to do the first morning. Hey, Craig, what's up, man? So I kind of went off on my own for a little bit. I got and then when I came back, I actually got a contact from his driving another 100 miles. That sucks, man. I only drove from Cleveland to where I live, which is an hour and 19 minutes, and that was enough after that week. But so anyway, Lori saw that I was kind of struggling and didn't have anything, I didn't know anything. So she started talking to me, and we had a good time. And I actually made a contact with one of John's suppliers, a lovely lady named Marcia, which happens to be my wife's name. So that was cool. And we're going to do some business with her. And then another supplier of John's later I was able to get in contact with. How'd the flight go? By the fact that you're here, I assume well. The first flight, like I said, it was peaceful. It was great. But the first flight, they put me in a giant banana, big yellow plane with the word Spirit on the side. So I don't know if that should have scared me or what, but and on the way home, it was a white one. So it was in a banana and a marshmallow. But no, they were great. Day 2, I hung out with Scott a little bit. Scott actually, day 1, Scott had a class, and he can talk about that on his show, which was all day long. So I didn't hang out with Scott day 1. Day 2, I hung out with Scott and Dan A. He's in our chat sometimes and good friends with Scott, and I hope now good friends with me too. And I learned a lot from him because he's got just a very strong go-getter type personality, and I learned a lot from him. And I actually made my first purchase of the weekend on Tuesday. I spent $500 on some toys from a vendor, and hopefully that'll work out in my favor. I should make about $3,000 on that. And then the next day, Wednesday, was it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Scott and I decided, screw Vegas, we're going to California. And so we went to California for the day. And we left at 8 o'clock in the morning and didn't get back till 11 o'clock at night sourcing. And it was actually, as soon as we crossed the state line, I wanted to buy a Prius and I couldn't figure it out. And paper straws just made more sense to me as soon as I crossed that line. But it was a very interesting day. We started out obviously in Vegas. We went through Baker, California, ended up in I think Riverside was the farthest we went, and then started coming back and went into San Bernardino, and then there's like this state park there, which is up a mountain, and that was cool. Very windy roads. Scott made me sick driving. And then we stopped at Big Bear Lake, which is right at the top of the mountain. No, but they do have a checkpoint, Craig. He asked if they check or ask for passport when you crossed over into California. They do have a checkpoint, and we didn't get stopped. We actually got waved through this time, but there's a checkpoint that you have to go through, and they ask you if you have any produce because they don't want you to bring produce in. But we didn't have to stop this time. If you're driving from Vegas into California, you might want to get gas on the Vegas side prior to getting to the state line because it was, I think, $4.45 there. The highest or the lowest I saw it in Vegas was $3.09, and then I think it was $3.45 in California, most places. But yeah, if you're ever doing that trip, make sure you get your gas before you get to the state line. But other than that, it was great. We ended up in Big Bear Lake, which is on the top of a mountain. There's a ski resort up there, a very famous ski resort. I can't remember right off the top of my head what it's called. Yes, I am now. I was an illegal immigrant, so yes, they gave me the right to vote as soon as I crossed the state line. Anyway, so we're in Big Bear Lake. We're at the bottom of the mountain. It's like 100 degrees. We get to the top of that mountain. It was 68 or 69 degrees. It was really refreshing up there. And get back down to the bottom, and it's back up to 100 degrees. So anyway, that was a great day. And then of course yesterday, I think it was Thursday, we went over, spent the whole day with John and Lori. Scott and I did, and John and Scott did their webinar. We had breakfast with them at a buffet, which was really, really good and very, very cheap actually. At some casino off the strip. I can't remember names, but then that evening, or they did the webinar, and that evening we went out to a steakhouse at another casino that's off the strip, and that was really good too. I didn't eat steak. John picked on me a little bit because we went to a steakhouse and I got lasagna, but my God, was it good. But by the time I got to I couldn't even finish it, and that's not like me. I always finish my lasagna, especially, but the lasagna was really good. The waiter there happened to know a friend of mine who lives in Vegas, which was pretty cool. But he saw my shirt that I was wearing, which is actually the same one I'm still wearing because I was so exhausted at the end of yesterday. I just went to bed, and don't worry, I showered most of the week, I think. I don't recall. But last night, anyway, so in the same shirt I was in last night. I got home a couple hours ago. I just sat down and I haven't moved yet. Vegas can be very draining, especially when you're going to conferences and running around all over the place. So anyway, he saw the antique archaeology shirt and he just thought that was fantastic. And he had questions, and he talked to all us about eBay and Amazon and what we do. And happens to know he used to work with a friend of mine. He's also a waiter. And so that was pretty cool. So, but anyway, that's pretty much the whole wrap up. Today, Scott left about 6:15 in the morning, Vegas time. and I left. John Chartier picked me up at 8:30. I went to the airport. I was so scared that I was not going to catch my flight because Vegas airport is huge. Cleveland is okay size. I mean, it's a good size airport, but that's where I flew out of. But Vegas, boy, that place it's intimidating if you don't know where you're at. But I'm not seeing any new chats. I'm on a free trial of StreamYard. They say that I can do better things with it, but I don't see. So I noticed the StreamYard logo isn't up here. That's pretty cool, actually. I only have 3 days left on the StreamYard trial, so I figured I'd better use it. I'm going to switch over to the YouTube side, and I'm not seeing this video on the YouTube side, so StreamYard is, Kentucky Flip Hunters. Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the people we met while we were there. One of the coolest, funniest guys we met was Chris. I didn't meet Wade. Chris from Liquidation, Ohio. We hung out with him one night, and it was interesting. It was very good. He's a very funny guy, even though he may not come across that way on YouTube. But he is a funny guy, and hopefully I can work with Chris in the future. We're not that far from each other, about 3-hour drive. So we talked a little bit about that and a bunch of other things. Also met Jason T. Smith. He was talking there. That was pretty cool. His mom lives about a half an hour from me. And if I was feeling up to it, I would go to the meeting that they have up, which is about an hour drive from me, tomorrow. But I think I'm going to pass because I'm worn out. We do want to do some yard sales in the morning. So everybody hear me all right and everything good? Cody Chris Mathau. Did I say that right? I hope I said that right. Like Walter Mathau? That's how I'm assuming it's pronounced. Who else did we meet? They just sent me a friend request, and I don't want to say their name wrong. So I'm going to look here real quick. The Oliveira family, or Matthew. Is that how that's pronounced? Matthew? That's interesting. We met another nice couple, and they have sent me friend requests too, but I can't remember their names. We sat down to dinner on Tuesday night, I believe, with them. We met. God Almighty! Give me 1 second, and I'll tell you, because he messaged me today. Scott Lindsay. Scott Lindsay is a member of our chat a lot, and he's also a member of Chris from Liquidation Ohio's chat. I spent a good amount of time with Scott. Reseller Mom, we met Reseller Mom. She was really cool to hang out with. I didn't get as much time with her. Scott sat down and had lunch with her, so that was great. There was a gentleman named Mario, and I didn't catch his last name, who came up to us. Do I collect old VW manuals if they're cheap enough? Yeah, I don't go out and specifically look for them, but if I find them at a yard sale or something, I have a few. But I do like to have them, but I don't like to spend money. So I tell everybody I'm a cheap bastard, which I am. But now what I want to tell you all about ASD is it's a great place to go if you're Amazon sellers. And you want to look into expanding beyond retail arbitrage. It's like retail arbitrage on steroids there, because all the brands that you're selling now will also probably be at ASD. But what ASD can do for you is give it to you in bigger quantities. Most companies have at least a $500 minimum order quantity. So you'll be buying in bigger quantities. I bought 250 of one toy, 250 of another toy. But the good thing about that is now I know this company is a good company because I'll tell you the supplier is Majestic, and Majestic sells mostly sporting goods like clothing, sports clothing. My wife is on her way home, so I have a limited amount of time. She'll be about 20 minutes, so I have a few more minutes, but so I bought some toys from Majestic, but they're also an authorized distributor for some items that I wanted to get ungated in. So I've already sent my invoices in. We'll see how that. Have I ever thought about drop shipping? Not personally. Drop shipping is a model that I know John does a lot of that stuff. He direct from supplier to Amazon, but I haven't got into it yet. ASD could be good for that, though. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of vendors there who would send directly into Amazon for you. Some of them would label it for you. Some of them wouldn't. Some will label the outside box, obviously. Some ask you to send the outside box label. Some will print your FNSKU labels for you. Some won't. So you really got to understand what you're asking these suppliers to do for you. But there are a lot of suppliers there who will do that for you. And that's a sort of like drop shipping. But what the drop shipping I think you're talking about is direct to customer. And it's not my model. And the reason it's not is because what if my supplier runs out? And that would be a big fear for me. And I'd just rather do it all myself. So that's the drop shipping you're talking about. Because the other is direct to the marketplace. So that's not even drop shipping at all. I still have Vegas brain. Even though I didn't drink or do any of that stuff, Vegas will get on your brain. Cody, I'm going to do another video about Book Scouter, and I'm going to do it. I have 2 more books. They're here somewhere. My wife did a little bit of tidying up in this office, even though I was amazed that she actually didn't clean the whole thing, because she's really annoyed with my mess. But there is a app called Book Scouter. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but I found that it's sometimes just better to sell those books to a company like that than it is to ship them into FBA, especially obviously if you're restricting them. So it works with a few. I got 2 more that I'm going to do on. I think I might split it into 2 different companies just to show that there are different ways to do it on Book Scouter. But anyway, another good thing about going to ASD is if you need invoices, you're talking directly to distributors and wholesalers. And generally, and one of the questions I ask a lot of them is, do your invoices work for Amazon to help, lift restrictions on products? Hey, Scott. Hey, man, this is the Scott I was talking about. Scott, I'll talk about vacation mode in a second. Scott, it was great hanging out with you. Are you coming to Nashville? And if you are, man, we'll have to sit down and have dinner. Oh, Alan. I also met Alan Taylor and Sandy, and I did have a good time with them. And I've promised Alan that I will sit down with him in Nashville and have supper. So people don't let me forget that. Well, that sucks, Scott, because you were a good dude to hang out with. And we spent a lot of time at that one booth. I did get an email from the guy. Have you... what company was the books shipment going to? It's going to be Book Scouter, and then it gives you a list of places. I'll do a video on it here this week sometime. But anyway, Scott, did you hear anything more back from that guy on what we ordered or what you ordered? Okay, he did send me an email with a product list, or like an Excel. You guys can go ahead and try Book Scouter on your own before my video. That's fine too. But it's just another way to make a little bit of money on things you're restricted in, because I'm restricted in a lot of textbooks. So my thoughts on vacation mode for eBay. Plan on going. This is from Man Bear Pick, which is like the best name in the history of names on YouTube right there. Vacation mode. Plan on going on vacation, and here eBay's vacation setting needs some work with us having to change our handling time. Okay, so there's 2 steps to vacation mode. Number 1, you got to put it on vacation mode, which is just a click of a switch. In that setting, you can either choose to show or not show your inventory, I think. Obviously, you want to keep getting sales where you're gone. So the next step would be you also have to extend out your handling time. So if I were to have done it for this, For this trip, I would have extended out 3 or 4 business days, and then ended it. Made it less and less as time went on. One moment. I'm doing a video, so it's all right. You want to come on?
I told you I was coming back.
It's all right. There's people. You want to say hi? No, didn't think so. So vacation. This time I didn't do vacation mode because my wife was home and she wanted to attempt doing all the eBay orders. As Scott will tell you, Scott the bearded picker will tell you, she had some difficulty, but she did it and she did it well. So that's my thoughts. I've used vacation mode when we went to Nashville last year. We used it because there wasn't anybody here to pack things. And I still made a lot of sales. So another good thing about going to ASD is the people you meet. Of course, I got to hang out with Scott Lindsay and Chris from Liquidation, Ohio, John Chartier and his wife. And these are friendships that I think, and I hope I'm not speaking for those people, but friendships I think that will last a long time. So it was really good to do that. But what that is networking. So Scott, I think Scott Lindsay here and I, we need to talk, man, off camera, because I like you, and so we need to. I think you can be one of my accountability buddies. I really like the way you think, and I think we'll do well with the contact that we made there, and it was a great thing. So so that's another thing, and just getting your feet wet. I would suggest you hang out with somebody who's been there before, because it was a overwhelming mass of things. I mean, you walk into that building and all you see is product and people and vendors, and so if you don't have a direction to go, it's going to be overwhelming. And I watched Chris from Liquidation Ohio's video about, his wrap-up video about ASD, and he said that the first 3 or 4 times or 2 or 3 times or whatever it was, he didn't buy anything. It can be that overwhelming, but I think next year, I think we're going to go back in March. So I think in March we're going to really hit it hard. Did you need something, bud? You need a figure 8? You need a heart? A number 2. Come in here. Just tell me what you need.
PlayStation, $28.
Do you think that's a fair offer?
Well,
my son listed a PlayStation on.
How much would I get off of it?
Well, how much did you pay for it, number 1?
No.
You paid $0 for it. Okay. So PlayStation 2. Let's ask the chat. PlayStation 2 paid $0 for it. Console only? Console only.
I think it's a good idea.
Free shipping, or did we charge?
Free shipping.
We did free shipping on that. Now we can
put that Xbox.
We can put a little bit of cardboard around it. Put it in a padded, or not in a padded flat rate envelope, so it costs about $7.40, I think, to ship. So you'll make, after your eBay fees,
$15.
15 or so dollars. You want $15?
Yeah. No, it's better than no money.
Let me check it before you hit accept. You have 24 hours or so. So I think, yeah, he just started his eBay account, so he's still learning. Anyway, so I'm gonna probably wrap this up. I'm gonna go help him with that, just to make sure he's selling to an appropriate person. He got some offers that were. It's a slim. Don't hit accept yet. It's a PS2 Slim. It's the one that I did. Okay, they have a 353 positive feedback. That's good. It's going to the United States, Skagway, Alaska. Oh, it's going to Alaska. We'll have to put it in a padded flat rate for sure.
So accept?
Let me look at it when the show's over. He's anxious. This will be his very first eBay sale.
Maybe.
This is the one. This is the one that I did the video on fixing the cord in. It doesn't. I don't know what model number it is, Why don't you counter offer for $35 and see what happens? You know how
30.
to counter offer? No.
30.
You want to go high because they'll come back if they're offering you 28. Counter offer for 40. And then they'll come back at a different.
I don't want to lose my.
Somebody else will come along, bud. You got to be patient. This is teaching a new eBay seller live on the air. Okay, now you'll put down there, just put 40, and they might accept that.
How about 38?
Just put. If you want to do 38, that's fine.
$10 more.
That's fine. You go ahead and do that. He's very anxious to make his first sale. And I think we all were the first time we got a we got an eBay sale. 38.00. You don't have to put a message in.
38 cents.
Yeah, you don't want to make sure. You want to make sure it's not 38 cents.
Do I say review offer?
Yeah, you hit that, and then submit.
I'll lose it.
If somebody else come along, bud, you just listed it. You have zero feedback. So it's going to take a while to sell things. You'll get there, though.
Can I exit it out now?
Yeah. But I want to teach him the right way to sell too. I don't want him to just take the first offer that comes along. He did have some offers that were $100, and those scam. Oh wow, we got 41 live viewers. That's pretty cool. He had some of those scammy $100 offers. So I had to make him understand that is not a legit offer when it's way more than what you. And I don't really know how that scam works, but it is a scam. So. Anyway, where was I? ASD. Anyway, if you guys get a chance and you are Amazon, there's things the items I purchased can sell either on eBay or Amazon. They were 2 toys. They were Disney toys. I'm not going to tell you obviously what they were because they're going to be my Amazon inventory. Both have in the 8,000 rank. I got them for $1 a piece. One sells for $14.99. The other one, there's a fly on my screen. The other one sells right around that. So, so I think one's $11.99, one's going to be $14.99. I think is how I figured it. So I'll make around $3,000 or more on Amazon, but I could just very well at $1 a piece with shipping. They were $1.08 a piece. I could just very well sell those on eBay and do the same thing. So it's great. Isn't it great to be excited? Hey Ken, what's up, man? And I'm excited about the new process. I've got some catalogs. My wife and I are going to go over them tomorrow. We're putting some bundles together for Amazon. John was great in helping me figure out why my first 2 bundles weren't working. I think I've got those figured out now. Jennifer, what's up, Jennifer? So we're all good. And I just want to say, and I know John's probably not watching. He doesn't follow anybody on YouTube really. Maybe we'll do another show on him making his first sale and all that stuff. I don't know. It's hard to get him on camera. But anyway, I want number 1. Thank you, John and Lori. Without John making the offer for me to come, I wouldn't have went. Just plain and simple. And so he afforded me the opportunity to expand my business and my knowledge. I learned a lot from that man. But I also learned a lot from Dan A. And I learned a lot from Lori too, because she sat there and held my hand like a kindergarten kid that first day and made me just feel like I belonged there. And so that was great. The crazy card, what's up, man? So that was great. Dan A really taught me how to come out of my shell and make a purchase. I was scared to make a purchase. There was other things I could have got, and I didn't. So no, I wasn't there to spend a whole lot of money. It was more of a learning experience. But Dan really pulled me out of that shell, and I think Scott would tell you the same thing. And I really enjoyed hanging out with him and his I think girlfriend. They were great people, and he made some significant purchases and it was his first ASD, but he has more of the mindset of that. So just hanging out with him for almost the whole day was really mind opening. I learned way more about myself. I got in the car on the way home. First, I got on that airplane today and I was confident because I already knew I could do it because I already did it, right? So it's the same. I'm on my way home driving that car and I'm cutting in and out of traffic and driving like I was confident, not anything dangerous, but I had ridden with Scott for 2 days. I haven't slowed down yet, but it's built a lot of confidence in me. Now I know that I can call up my 2 or 3 suppliers list and it won't bother me. And I'm very anxious about those sort of things. So, I think I do want to get together with Scott, Lindsay, just because we made the same contact with the same supplier, and I want if we can keep each other in check with that. Watching Dan work or John Chartier. John put on a demonstration for a couple of us with his reading glasses, and it opened a whole new way of thinking for selling on eBay. It was so crazy, simple, that you miss those simple things like there. Scott, man, you should have seen me on the way home. You would have been proud. Scott disconnected my brake on my side of the car. You should get in a car, you have that fake brake on the passenger side. Yeah, I used it a lot with Scott. But I get in the car on the way home, I'm like, I can do that. And it's all a part of me growing as a person and as a reseller. And ASD taught me more about that side of me than anything. So anyway, guys, that's it. She's going to be home in a few minutes, and I haven't seen her. Yeah, Dan's just an amazing dude. Scott drives crazy. No shit. I had to ride up these tiny little mountain roads that do this number all the way up the side of a mountain with him. Yeah, I was a little nervous. But anyway, guys, I got to go. She's going to be home. I haven't seen her in a week. I'm going to go spend some quality time. And don't forget if you're watching this as a replay, or if not, don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that bell notification down below. Roll Tide. Oh my God, I've been hanging out with Scott too long.